In this video, we're covering Charles S. Roberts Award winner for Best Sci-Fi Fantasy Board Game of 2022, The Long Road by Mark H. Walker from Flying Pig Games. In this video, we will cover what is The Long Road about, what do you get in the box, and then a brief how-to explanation of how to play. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The Long Road is a World War III two-player war game with a paranormal twist. In most scenarios, players can play as either the Americans or the Soviets, but other factions do come into play. In this game, you can nerd out on everything, from advanced sights, multispectral smoke, artillery-delivered minefields, to electronic countermeasures, anti-tank guided missiles, attack helicopters, and the man-portable air defense systems to bring them down. In addition, as a player, you'll command the weapons of the 1980s, Abrams tanks, T-80 tanks, M60A3s, T-64Bs, and Sheridan tanks, Bradleys, M113s, BMPs, Infantry, Spetsnaz, and more. Remember, The Long Road won the award for Best Sci-Fi Fantasy Wargame of 2022. So here's where that sci-fi fantasy comes in. The third faction in The Long Road is the paranormal. The bloodshed and evils of World War III have caused creatures and demons thought to be myths, folklore, and nightmares to emerge from the shadows, where they have existed since the dawn of time. Players will experience demons that can summon electrical storms, rendering advanced weaponry useless, lycans that fight with assault rifles, RPDs, and RPGs, along with the fang and claw of their elders, a witch with an agenda, plus the powerful spells to make it happen, and a Romanian vampire worth dozens of inexperienced soldiers in combat. Now let's talk about what you're going to get in the box. You will get 5 sheets of thick counters. These are 2 millimeters thick, and the counters are in 1-inch squares. You will get 3 17 by 22-inch geomorphic mounted maps. These are not thick paper or stiff cardboard. They are actual mounted maps. You will get 27 full color action cards. The game is not card driven, but it is card assisted. You will get a full color, extremely organized rulebook, complete with a helpful index, lots of iconography, helpful hints, and gameplay examples. 4 player aid cards, 5 10-sided dice used for combat, and a campaign book containing 18 scenarios set in Mark H. Walker's Dark War universe. If you've read the Dark War books, Revelation and Retribution, these 18 scenarios actually weave in and out of the stories, utilizing the novel's characters and settings, but not always with the expected results. When you play through the 18 scenarios in The Long Road, you get to write your own military horror story in the Dark War universe. Our hope was to bring the characters of the universe alive, which is not an easy task in a game of this scale. Now let's get into an overview of how it's played. For a more in-depth video on how to play The Long Road, please check out the other videos on our channel. The Long Road is a tactical skirmish game where the victory conditions will shift depending on the story that the scenario is creating. In many scenarios, victory conditions are met by eliminating or disrupting enemy units, exiting the map successfully, or controlling certain hexes that represent strategic value. Each scenario in the campaign book will guide you through setup. This includes which geomorphic map to use, what counters are needed, where to set up your units, how many turns are played, what action cards are used, and any special rules such as Soviets beginning turn 1 with initiative, whether the rivers on the map are shallow, which affects movement cost, or whether the scenario is played in daylight, which affects the vampire Katerina. The Long Road uses a unique combat system used in other Mark H. Walker designs, such as Platoon Commander Kursk and Sticks and Stones from Tiny Battle Publishing. If you're familiar with those designs, you're definitely going to have a head start. The combat system is based on the roll of a 10-sided die and the information on the fire results table. Fire combat occurs in the fire and movement phases of each turn. Players alternate declaring and resolving attacks. A player may declare an attack on an eligible enemy unit. A significant change from previous iterations of Platoon Commander rules is that in The Long Road, you only attack one combatant in the hex, regardless of the composition of the targets or what units are in that hex. Obviously, artillery, airstrikes, and minefields are the exception. To give you an example of combat, let's walk through attacking a lay combatant. Like I said earlier, if you are interested in a more in-depth explanation of combat and all the different aspects of The Long Road, please check out some other videos on our channel. To attack a laid combatant, determine if you have line of sight to the enemy hex, if you are within range of this hex, and choose the unit within the hex you wish to attack. Next, locate the rightmost column on the fire results table that is equal to or less than the attacking combatant's high explosive firepower. The HEF is in the bottom left corner of the counter you are using to attack. Next, modify the column as dictated by the terrain effect chart, range color explanation. Refer to the color surrounding your unit's HEF for this, and any other modifying factors such as flanking fire and moving fire. All positive shifts for the attacker are to the right on the fire results table. Apply these before applying negative shifts. After applying the positive and negative shifts, find the appropriate final column in the FRT and roll 1d10. Scan the left side of the FRT to find the result matching your die roll. This will determine how successful your attack was. An X is immediately destroyed, NE means no effect, or like my dad and I like to joke, no excitement. And the numbers represent the number of dice rolled to determine the number of hits you got. For example, if you got the result of 5 on the FRT, the defender now rolls 5d10 for each possible hit. A roll that is less than or equal to the morale of the defender succeeds in blocking the hit. Each unit has an intrinsic morale, listed on page 6 of the rules. The Americans have a morale of 4, while the Soviets have a morale of 3. For demonstrative purposes, we're going to keep it simple. Here's an example. You wish to use your Soviet infantry with an HEF of 6 and a green range color to attack an American infantry unit. Both units are in open terrain and are 3 hexes away from each other. Like I said, we are keeping it simple for now. The player controlling the Soviet unit finds the 6th column on the FRT and then looks at the range color explanation table. Since their HEF is printed on green, they are within normal range, 3 hexes. This means that there is no shift on the FRT. We are still in the column 6. The American does not get any terrain modifier since both units are in open terrain, so it looks like we're rolling on the 6th column. Roll 1d10. We get a 3. This means the Soviets got 4 potential hits on the American unit. The Americans now roll 4d10s, and any roll that is less than or equal to their morale is dodged. The Americans roll a 2, 1, 5, and a 6. This means the Soviets hit this American unit twice. This means the American infantry unit is disrupted and flipped to its reduced side. You can find the results of combat on page 12 of the rules. In conclusion, The Long Road is a meticulously crafted masterpiece, blending historical accuracy with immersive gameplay, carving itself into the military horror genre. If you're a history buff or a strategy enthusiast, this game deserves a prominent spot on your gaming tabletop. If you're free, please like and subscribe. Thank you.